In for Marketing Food Online, and today I am going to show you some of the bare necessities, the basic materials and equipment you will need to start a home-based food business, at least to get you up and running. And then I can show you a separate video. We'll do it on how to get in a commercial facility and the next step, the next level of type of equipment you would need. So I'm going to go over everything I've got here on one of my prep tables. And again, this is just some basics on a home-based food business and how to get started doing that. And then we will get into much more. So let's get started, guys. Damien from Marketing Food Online. I hope you guys are having another amazing day as always. So today's going to be a little bit of a different type of video. I get a lot of requests and questions about getting started, of course, when you're in your home, and what kind of equipment or what kind of utensils, what kind of small wares, if you will, that I need to have in order to start a food business from home, because I'm not in a commercial facility just yet. So it's a great question, and I'm actually going to go over the handful of items you just saw in the intro, and I'm going to explain to you the importance of having these super basic items, of course, and then once you get into a commercial facility like we are in now, it becomes a much different type of ball game, and we'll go over much of that later. Okay, so to get started off with, if you're doing specifically baking type of food products, if you're not doing candies or rock candy, hard candies, or if you're doing like truffles and chocolates, that's another handful of videos. I will go over different chocolate molds and different types of other equipment and pieces of utensils that would be needed to create those types of candies and food products, okay? So right now, basic baking, I would highly recommend that you get yourself a handful of different types of spatulas. I prefer wooden ones based on the type of product that I'm making. And of course, having the good old-fashioned rubberized spatulas. Get an assortment of these. If you don't know where to get, by the way, all of these items, I'll put some great, easy to click on links down below in the description, and that will take you over to take a look at some different variety of products that could benefit you at home to get you up and running and at really, really super great prices, because a lot of this stuff is packaged together, and you don't have to go out and buy super expensive, high-end quality stuff when you're starting from home, especially if you're just getting into it and you're not sure if you're going to like it. Don't invest a lot of money in it. Just get a lot of basic stuff and see how, from there, you can get yourself into the next level of products, okay? Now, scoopers, if you're getting into doing cookies and such, cookie scoopers, we have them in literally all kinds of sizes, from a small to a medium to an extra large. And of course, these come in multiple sizes based on the size of the scoop, okay? So you've got your scoop. If you're doing any type of bread or dough or anything related to flour and sugar, of course, with baking as well, a kneading utensil like this helps to incorporate butter and sugars and cinnamons, let's say. If you're doing kind of like wet or partially wet or semi-wet products, you want to incorporate with that, this would be the best tool for that. Always have yourself a scale. A digital scale is fantastic. We have a ton of these that we still use in our commercial facility now. We've got multiples of these all over the shop because we weigh so much stuff. I highly recommend the digital one, and you can pick them up for anywhere from $15 to $20, okay? And I say digital because a lot of the scales that are the old-fashioned weight scales with the little nozzle that goes up and down are not always calibrated or accurate. And we actually have these tested and even calibrated by the Department of Agriculture. They check these to make sure they're correctly weighing out. You always want to make sure they are working properly. Next up is kind of a no-brainer. You definitely need to have the variety of measuring cups, okay? Now, I highly recommend you do not buy plastic. These are not very expensive to invest in, even the metal ones. And the reason why I say plastic is a lot of times the plastic cups, the measuring cups have the the measurement on the handle. And when you're dealing with plastic ones, it's normally on there, it's like written or stamped with like an ink. It's not always engraved or embedded. And after you wash it about 10 times, the measuring size completely comes off. Okay, then you have no idea what size this is. When you get the metal one, see if I can get that in. It's actually etched into the metal. This will never come off. So I recommend just getting these. And again, the set of these is like $10, $12. They're not very expensive. You don't need to spend $100 to $200. I've seen some of them ridiculously priced because they are brand name or has some chef's name on it. No, don't waste your money on that. Small bowls, small silver bowls, like the size of your hand. These are great for spices, small amounts when you want to incorporate a little bit of sugar, if you've got a little bit of cinnamon, or you've got those types of things going into your baked goods. You want to prep yourself and get yourself ready. These are great. You can simply dump the dry ingredients in there. Now, when it comes to bowls, get yourself 2 types of sets. I recommend 2. And that is, you have metal. We have, I can't tell you how many. We have all sizes of these metal bowls throughout the shop. Small ones and medium-sized ones. Get them. They come in a set too. Ultra inexpensive. Again, don't spend too much on these. Okay? And then there is the glass bowl. Okay? Now, I recommend a set of glass and stainless steel bowls for 2 reasons. These are great, but you can't put them in the microwave if you have to microwave something, or if you have to use an oven or some type of melting for butter, maybe even. Okay? You could simply put it in a glass bowl. You pop it in, you can melt it that way, or if you want to do it on your stove, of course, you can do that. But these are super simple. They melt butter very easily. If you have some melting chocolates even that you're not tempering, you can definitely use these. They're very handy. Now, recommend you get 2 of these, 2 or 3 of these. We go through these a lot because we treat these horribly. We use them so much. We abuse them almost. But the metal sifter, okay? And make sure that the excuse me, the screen on there is very fine, okay? You're doing flours or sugars or doing any type of dry mixtures, incorporating baking sodas, baking powders into your dry mixtures, and you want to sift those together. Make sure it's ultra fine. It's going to give you better quality. Okay. And your spatulas. Now, if you're doing cakes, I have a whole other video I will do. I have to go in the back and get our pastry tips, pastry bags, and all that. That's on a whole other video. These are just some super basic items that you would need if you're doing traditional baking products and you're not getting into mastering wedding cakes and such right now. That's a totally different video. This is definitely something you want to get. To spread these out, to utilize these spades and to use them to simply put your ganaches and your chocolates and such on. Have 2 different sizes. I've got one that's actually wood handled and then metal. This is the better higher end one, and the quality is much better, and it's huge. Then you want to get yourself a funnel. Okay, I use these a lot for items when I'm really in an area workspaces that I might be a little more narrow or tighter than others. It allows me to use this for a lot of dry goods, and you can of course use these for wet products as well. We actually have a set in the back that's got multiple sizes, and they're very inexpensive. You don't need a metal one or even a high-end one. Plastic one is super handy and easy to use. Okay, so now the other thing is the KitchenAid. Let me show you really quick. I'll show you one. Oops, sorry about that. A really quick KitchenAid. This right here would be a fantastic start. The KitchenAid, you don't need an ultra expensive version, and believe it or not, you can get them refurbished. You can get them refurbished through Amazon, I believe it is. eBay, you might be able to find some. Amazon is a little more reputable, but you can get them for a fraction of the price. Originally, these are anywhere from $400 to $600, brand new, depending on the model and the type that you get. But getting a refurbished one is something that's a lot less costly, and you don't have to make a huge investment in it, okay? Give me 1 second. I'm actually going to get you a couple more items, and then we'll wrap this up. Okay, sorry about that, guys. All right, so I would also recommend you get measuring cups, good old-fashioned measuring cups. We have the 4-cup size, because a lot of stuff that we bake is is very large quantities, as opposed to an individual item at once. So these are really relatively big, 4 cups for dry and wet ingredients. By the way, really quick, I didn't tell you, when you get your KitchenAid, you're going to get your your different whisks, okay? This would be the paddle, which would be great for a lot of drier products. When it comes to wet cakes and meringues, or if you're trying to whip egg whites, you want to stick with the whisk, okay? So you have these 2 different types of attachments. And that reminds me, whisks. We have probably 3 or 4 dozen of these, but I would recommend you also get a whisk. Get a well-made one, because the cheaper ones will just simply fall apart very easily, okay? Now, doing baked goods, you're obviously going to have a variety of cake molds, muffin molds, and it could go on and on and on. Now this will be dependent upon what you choose to make, and of course like loaf pans, rectangular loaf pans in different sizes and different qualities. This is a little better made than this. And then you've got a variety of cake molds. This is some of the bundt cakes that we make. We use this. And of course we have hundreds of different shapes of traditional muffin molds, okay? Muffin pans. So all of these are great starting points for opening or starting a food-based business at home if you're doing baked goods, okay? I'll do a separate video. I'll put together one for chocolate making, and we'll put together a couple more for some more commercial grade equipment, which is much, much bigger, including cooling racks and some of our convection ovens that we carry here in the shop, and I'll show you those as well. So with that being said, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I wanted to just do a really quick video and explain to you guys some of the basics and things that you can get. You can literally invest in all of this for anywhere from $100 to maybe $200, aside from the KitchenAid. The KitchenAid's a little bit more pricier, but go for the refurbished one. And to be honest with you, they go through a rigorous revamping, if you will. When they refurbish them, they work great, and they are a fraction of the cost of a new one. So thank you guys, and if this helps out, do as always, give me a big thumbs up. Take a look down in the description. I'll put some links in there for a sort of variety of these things. You can take a look and price them out and maybe get some items for yourself as well. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks, guys.